This is the forearm plank saw. We're going to get into the forearm plank position with our feet on top of something that can slide across the surface like a jersey. So setting up in the forearm plank position, head is in line with the back and the shoulders are stacked on top of the hips. We're going to push away from the ground and then we're going to pull into the ground, creating that saw-like pattern. We're going to move about 5 to 8 reps. Keeping that back straight. Don't let the hips come down and don't let the hips come up too high. Keep the back straight. This is the prone hip flexion. So we're going to get into a push-up plank position with your foot on top of one jersey so it can slide forward. We're going to slide the knee up toward the chin until you feel a nice contraction in the hip flexor, and then we're going to slide it back, nice and controlled. Nothing else moves. Keep the shoulders stacked over the hips, head looking straight down, and we're going to flex the hip all the way up and then push back down. About 5 reps on each side. This is the forearm knee plank. We're going to set up on the hands and knees. Then we're going to lower down to the forearms. Elbows are out wide, fists are together. From this position, we want to squeeze our glutes so that our shoulders are in line with our hips. Tuck the toes. Create some tension in the core by rounding up the upper back and squeezing the abs. We're going to hold for about 15 to 30 seconds. Okay. This is the forearm plank hold. We're going to set up on the hands and knees. Lower down to the forearms, fists together, elbows out. Squeeze the glutes, get in your forearm knee plank position. Then from here, all we're going to do is just straighten the knees. Nothing else should move. Back's in line with the shoulders, head and hips. Nice stack position around the upper back. Squeeze the core. Hold for about 15 to 30 seconds. So we're going to perform the forearm plank reach. We're going to set up on the forearms and knees. Get into our forearm plank position. We're going to look ahead about a foot in the air. We're going to reach and touch either the wall or an object like a cone, and then come back to our forearm plank position. This is the bear hold. We're going to set up on the hands and knees position. We're going to bring the knees off the ground an inch, round the upper back, squeeze the core, and hold for about 15 to 30 seconds. This is the bear plank reach. Set up in the hands and knees. Bring your knees off the ground an inch, and then we're going to reach toward a cone or the wall ahead of us without moving the torso. This is the bear clock. We're going to set up in the bear position. Then we're going to move our hands in a clock-like pattern. So out to 3 o'clock, out to 9 o'clock, up to 12, up to 12, down to 6, down to 6. This is the plank clock. So you're going to set up in a push-up plank position. Then we're going to move our hands in a clockwise pattern, moving to 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Some regressions for the plank clock and forearm plank reach. If students aren't able to hold a stable body, it's important that they have different options like using their knees on the ground for the bear plank hold. So instead of bringing the knees off the ground, the knees can simply stay on the ground, or you can extend one leg back and hold this position. Okay. If you're performing a regression for the plank clock or bear plank clock, you can keep the knees down, or again, you can have one leg down on the ground and perform that same clock. For a regression for the forearm plank, if the individual is not able to keep good stability of the core, they can also perform the push-up plank, which may be a little bit easier. Okay, and if this is too hard, you can bring one knee down, and you can also bring both knees down. If this is too much on the wrist, you can go back to a forearm knee plank. You can also advance that by bringing one knee off the ground. So this is going to be the plank row. We're going to set up in the push-up plank position, and then we're going to row toward, this is going to be the push-up plank row. So if you have some dumbbells, you don't need them, but if you had dumbbells here, you would pull those dumbbells toward your rib cage in this plank row position. If you don't have dumbbells, then you're going to still do the same thing. Pull that elbow back and point those fingers down. Try to do this without moving the core. This is the hollow hold. We're going to set up on our back with our arms overhead. We're going to bring our feet and arms off the ground about 3 inches, and then we're going to hold and breathe. You should feel this in the front of the core. If the back hurts in this position, then we might want to bring your hands down and just our legs up. And you can modify that by just bringing one leg up. If the neck hurts, then you can bring the head down. This is the bicycle sit-up. So we're going to lay on our back with our hands behind our head. It's important that we don't force our head forward. What we're going to do is we're going to connect one elbow to the opposite knee. The other leg is going to straighten out. And then we're going to control and rotate and touch the opposite knee. We're going to go back and forth. The misconception is that you need to go really fast. We want to make these movements nice and controlled. Supine scissors. So we're going to lay on our back. We're going to bring our head down, and then we're going to scissors our legs up and down. We can also bring our head off the ground to challenge ourselves, and we can also bring our arms up off the ground to challenge ourselves as well. Egg beaters. So we're going to lay on our back, and we're going to cross over the legs while our head's on the ground. Or if we want to make this harder, we can bring our head up off the ground, and we can also make it more advanced by bringing the arms overhead. So we're going to perform the fitness gram or sliding sit-up. So we're going to lay down with our knees bent about 45 degrees, hands on the ground. Then from here, we're going to slide the hands as far forward as possible, and then lay back down. Squeeze, slide, come back down. We're going to perform the sit-up. The sit-up, we're going to lay on our back, cross our hands across the chest. We're going to sit up as much as we can until we feel a nice tension in our core, and then we're going to slowly come down. Up with control, squeeze and hold, and slowly come down. Misconception is that you need to sit up all the way when you perform a sit-up, but what oftentimes happens is your hip flexors will take over and your legs will do most of the work after 45 degrees. So crunches and sit-up slides are just as good, if not better, than going all the way up. We're going to perform the sit-up knee slide, laying your back with your feet on the ground, hands on the thighs, head down. We're going to sit all the way up as far as we can, slide those fingers past the knees, and then we're going to slowly lower down with control. We're trying to create as much tension on the way up, and then hold that tension as we slowly lower and control our eccentric. We're going to perform the prone slow swimmer. What we're going to do is lay on our stomach, bring our arms over our head, point our toes, lift opposite arm, opposite leg, and then switch. And what we're going to do is just look straight down with our nose off the ground about 1 inch. We're targeting our upper back, lower back, and glutes. This is the prone fast swimmer. So what we're going to do is lay on our stomach with our arms over our head. We're going to contralaterally lift each arm and leg off the ground. And then we're going to see if we can do that with everything off the ground in unison. Targeting our glutes, upper back, and posterior core. This is the prone breaststroke. We're going to lay on our stomach. We're going to reach our arms overhead with our palms up. We're going to lift everything up off the ground. And then we're going to swim back. The back of the hands will touch the glutes. Reach overhead with our palms up. Keep our legs and arms off the ground the whole time. This is going to target the glutes, lower back, and upper back. This is the prone T drill. We're going to lay on our stomach, set up in a T position with our arms, thumbs up, head looking down, toes pointed into the ground. We're going to lift our arms as high as we can. for about a 5 to 10 second count, and then lower down. This is targeting the posterior deltoids and the lower back. This is the prone Y drill. So we're going to lay on our stomach with our arms in a Y position, thumbs up, nose off the ground about an inch, toes tucked into the ground. We're going to lift those arms overhead in a Y position and hold for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then lower down. This is the prone W drill. So we're going to lay on your stomach with your arms in a W shape or field goal post. We're going to lift those arms off the ground, keep our toes tucked, head off the ground about 2 inches. Then we're going to reach overhead, pull down like we're pulling down and doing a pull-up, reach overhead, pull down. We're going to perform about 5 to 10 reps. This is going to target the posterior core and the upper shoulders on the back side. This is called the bow and arrow. So we're going to lay on our stomach, arms overhead. We're going to bend our elbows and our knees at the same time, and then straighten our body. Bend, straighten, bend, straighten. Head is off the ground about 1 to 2 inches. You can look straight ahead or down. This is the twist and touch. We're going to lay on our stomach, reach overhead, point those toes into the ground. We're going to bend one knee, reach for the opposite foot, touch the bottom of the foot, and then back to your start. Twist and touch, twist and touch. To advance this exercise, you can try to lift everything off the ground and twist and touch as the arms and legs are off the ground. This is going to target the lower back, upper back, and glutes. This is the skydiver hold. We're going to lay on our stomach. We can modify this by teeing out the arms. What we're going to do is lift the legs and upper thighs off the ground using the glutes only. Then we're going to squeeze the back of the shoulders into the air as high as we can. To make the skydiver harder, you can reach overhead and try to get those hands and legs up as high as they'll go into the air. Hold for about 10 to 30 seconds. We're going to perform the trunk lift exercise, which is a FitnessGram test, but you can also use it as a strengthening exercise for the lower back and glutes. So what we're going to do is arms are down next to our sides, palms face down, tuck the toes, lift the chest and neck and head, and try to get that chin up as high as it'll go. And once you get to the end range, hold and slowly come down. Your goal is to get up to about 9 inches to 12 inches into the air with your chin. And we're going to go for about 5 reps. This is the wall squat hold. So we're going to lean into the wall and step forward about 2 feet. We're going to bend the knees so our knees are at about a 90-degree angle. We have our arms down.